This image will circle the world. 2 millimeters. That's how close he came to dying. August 15th, 2003, 5:47 p.m., Truckee, California. A ladder wobbles 6 feet above concrete. A construction worker throws the drill, textbook safety protocol, and then he falls directly onto the spinning bit. Face first. His right hand finds the metal shaft. He runs it up, all the way to his eye socket. Then his left hand goes behind his head, and he feels the drill bit coming through the other side. 18 inches, spinning through his skull. And he's still conscious, still breathing, still alive, still asking questions. The question is, how? His name is Ron Hunt, 41 years old, construction worker. The kind of guy who follows the rules. You know the type, shows up, does the work, goes home safe. Truckee is small, mountains everywhere, always something being built. But here's what happens when the ladder shifts and you have to choose in 0.2 seconds. You let go. The drill falls, you fall after it, and the bit lands point up. You land on the bit, face first. The chip auger, 18 inches long, still spinning from the motor's momentum, enters through your right eye socket. Doesn't stop. But this is where the story stops being about an accident and becomes about something doctors still can't fully explain. But here's what you need to understand about the next 4 seconds. But it's also where the science gets impossible. How does an 18-inch spinning drill bit pass through a human skull without hitting the brainstem, without severing the major blood vessels, without causing unsurvivable hemorrhage? The answer is, it shouldn't. The human brain is soft tissue, suspended in fluid. It shifts in response to external forces. It has flexibility. Not much, but some. On August 15, 2003, that small amount of flexibility is the only reason you're alive. The drill bit enters through your right eye socket, and instead of driving through your brain tissue, it pushes your brain to the side, like moving something out of the way. The bit passes through your skull, along a path that by fractions of a millimeter avoids the critical structures, the brainstem, the major blood vessels, the centers that control breathing and heart rate. If that bit had moved 2 millimeters to the left, you die on the construction site. If it had moved 2 millimeters to the right, you die on the construction site. But it doesn't. The neurosurgeon reviewing your case will describe the trajectory as almost impossibly precise. Not precise in the sense of being aimed, but precise in the sense of being exactly, narrowly, incredibly not quite fatal. He will say that the drill bit appeared to find the only path through the human skull that could have left you alive. But here's the detail that changes everything. That path doesn't exist in every skull. In most people, a drill bit following that trajectory would have hit the temporal lobe directly, would have severed the middle meningeal artery, would have caused unsurvivable hemorrhage. Your skull is shaped slightly differently. A small anatomical variation, the kind that appears in maybe 1 in several thousand people, gives you just enough clearance. You didn't know that about yourself, but on August 15, 2003, it is the most important fact about your body. Within minutes, someone calls 911. Within an hour, you're in Washoe Medical Center in Reno. The attending physician walks in and sees something no training has prepared her for, an 18-inch drill bit protruding from a conscious human being's head. A nurse will later say, it didn't seem possible for him to be alive, but Ron already knows what's happened. He felt it, and his first question from the hospital bed isn't about his eye, isn't about his life. What happened to the equipment? The surgical team gathers. They try cutting the bit with a saw. It won't budge. The bit is still in the drill. So they make a decision. They're going to unscrew it by hand. If they turn the wrong way, it could tear through more brain tissue on the way out. Catastrophic hemorrhage. They grip the exposed end of the drill bit, and they turn it. The bit rises, slowly, millimeter by millimeter. 1 rotation, 2 rotations, 3, and then it comes free. 18 inches of metal exit the skull that it had entered 6 hours earlier. The surgeon holds it up. The operating room goes quiet. It came out clean, the surgeon says, and that's when everyone understands. He's going to live. Not because of the procedure, not because of luck, but because the path was already made. The brain already shifted. The bit already found the only way through. They were just removing what was already there. Chris Hunt, Ron's brother, is waiting in the family room when the surgeon comes out. Chris's face is in his hands. The surgeon tells him what happened. Ron survived. The surgery worked. The bit came out clean. Chris doesn't move for a long moment. The story hits the news 48 hours later. Good Morning America sends a crew. Ron sits in the hospital, calm. And that's where pretty much the shock set in. BBC picks it up. International news. The image spreads. The internet asks, how is this person alive? But the real question isn't how he survived. It's why he asked about the equipment. 6 months later, a Guinness World Records researcher reaches out. Has anyone applied for the record, they ask. What record? The hospital responds. There's a category. Largest foreign object removed from the human body. The reigning record, a hairball. Ron's neurosurgeon submits the application himself. This patient survived something unsurvivable, the surgeon writes. This changes what we know about human resilience. An 18-inch drill bit had pierced his brain, and he asked about the equipment. Within weeks, Ron holds the Guinness World Record. He didn't seek it. He didn't train for it. He went to work on a Thursday and came home changed. His right eye is gone. Not damaged. Not recoverable. Gone. The optic nerve severed. The orbital socket fractured. For the first weeks, Ron struggles with depth perception. But here's what didn't happen. His brain didn't stop working. His personality didn't change. He didn't become someone else. He became Ron Hunt with one eye, not a different person wearing Ron Hunt's name. The worst day of his life taught something to someone who saves lives. The neurosurgeon who turned the bit by hand specialized in traumatic brain injury. He cites Ron's case in his research. This patient showed me what's possible, he tells his students. Not a miracle. A man to whom a miracle happened. Ron goes back to Truckee. He goes back to work. Not the same work. Ladders are different. Drills are different. But he goes back. He notices the mountains more than he used to. Not because they changed, but because he did. Surviving something unsurvivable does that. It shifts something in how you see ordinary things. The Tuesday that wasn't supposed to happen. The Thursday that became Friday. The mountains that are still there. Still visible from wherever he's working. Still beautiful. Still here. Like him. Here's what I want to leave you with. Ron Hunt survived something that should have ended him. Not because he was special. Not because he was lucky in the way we usually mean luck. But because his skull was shaped slightly differently than most people's, because his brain had the flexibility to shift, because a drill bit found a path that didn't hit the things that matter most, and because when the moment came, Ron asked about the equipment. That's what a human being is, when everything is stripped away. If you survived something unsurvivable, if the thing that should have ended you didn't, what would you do? Would you see the ordinary Tuesday differently? Or would you do what Ron Hunt did, quietly, without announcement, and just keep going? Keep going. Notice the mountains. Be against all odds, still here.